we talk for a minute about launches? It's such a beautiful marketing term, and I hear coaches using it all the time. And again, I I think that marketers have complicated a lot of things for small business owners and for you as a coach. Marketers make things very complicated, and they just don't need to be. So let's talk about launches from a simplified perspective. Okay. I hear it on my podcast, so I want to clear it up. I had a launch recently, which meant I chose to have a workshop. It was my Are You a Copycat workshop. I'm taking you behind the curtain, right? Some of you who are listening right now attended that workshop because I know some of my podcast listeners absolutely attended. That was an idea born of inspiration because my normal networking, connecting with individuals hadn't yielded the money and the closed sales that I needed in the first quarter of the year. So I was like, better do something to jumpstart the second quarter. What am I going to do? Well, I guess I could have a workshop. And I tuned in energetically, and it was yes. So the workshop, Are You a Copycat Coach? Where we talked about borrowing, empowerment and midlife woman and boundaries and I hold space and all these words that we hear other coaches say either in their networking or elsewhere, and how it kind of dilutes our own marketing. It makes us sound like everybody else. We become a copycat. When I tuned in, I price my products very energetically and I tune into intuition. And when I tuned in, it was a $39 workshop, which I'm not going to lie, if you listen to, I think it was the episode that I did with Sarah a couple of weeks ago, I thought in my head was way too low because my mid-tier products are higher cost than that. And I didn't know what the next step for them was going to be. Let me repeat that. I didn't know what the next step would be after this workshop. I just knew I was getting the nudge to do a workshop. So you know what I did? I put the date up. I created the graphics for it. And I created a marketing plan that would get butts in seats at $39. I created a 4-week social media, email, podcast episodes, because this is another way that I get to communicate with my audience, marketing plan. Because if you're going to do a thing, let people know you're doing the thing. So I posted about it consistently, probably 6 to 7 times a week, and made sure that I wasn't just posting on my own page, that I was getting into the right groups with the right people. Most of it did not come from my own audience, as in on my own social media. Most of the people who came from emails, right? People being in my email world, my podcast, or inside of groups that I'm a part of. So then once I had the marketing plan and I had the date picked and I started marketing it, then it's like, okay, now what's the next step? I knew what the outcome I wanted to have of the workshop was, but what's the next step I'd love for them to take? And it was like, well, the next step that I'd love to take with them is to really get into their marketing, which would look like, oh, I know. It would look like one of my strategy calls. 90 minutes, dive deeply into their marketing, because I knew I was going to have brand new people I didn't know about who were going to be on that call. Maybe they'd been listening to the podcast. Maybe they knew me from some of the networking groups that they were in, but I didn't know their business well enough to know whether I could help them. And so that was a tiered product that I could offer them. More than $39. I also have a course called Stop Saying You're a Coach, Start Telling People What You Really Do. So I offered that as a next step. And I had about a third of the people on the workshop immediately say yes to a next step. And then from those, probably 70% of them have said yes to a coaching program. That's a launch. I had a $39 workshop that has now yielded 5 figures worth of income from the workshop, from the next steps, from the, like, let's work together for a period of time one-on-ones that I have sold them. That didn't sound super complicated, did it, friend? Pick a thing, build a marketing plan, have smart next steps that go in the direction you want them to go, that go to the products, the services that bring you joy. Well, if I offer this workshop, then I have to offer a group program. I hate group programs. Don't offer a group program. Oh my God. Stop selling stuff you don't like to do. That's a launch. Notice how I didn't have all the pieces of my launch in place. For some of you, that will create anxiety, and it will be better for you to tune in and have a clear launch path. For others of you that think you must have a clear launch path, this is your permission. You don't have to. Next step, next step, next step. Do you know what the key to it all was, though? The 4-week marketing plan. Now, does it have to be 4 weeks? It doesn't. Could it be? I think Sarah talked about how she had an 8-week launch. I want to say it was, but she didn't sell most of the seats in butts and seats for her launch. She sold in the last 48 hours. And she got a little sweaty about that. That made her start to feel like she was panicking a little bit. Go back, listen to the episode. It was a fun one when it talked about launches. But I want to give you a permission to launch imperfectly, to launch messy, to not have it all together, to not have to do a workshop. Oh, Laura said my launch has to start with a workshop. Oh, that is not what Laura just said. I have done a launch where it looked like I wanted to offer a whole bunch of strategy sessions. Like, let me go in, do an evaluation of your branding, and I created a marketing plan that marketed that and sold those. Just strategy session, straight into working with me. No workshop. What's your next launch? Do you just perpetually run a launch? As in, we're always all kind of marketing our business. But is it working that way? Do you have enough clients right now? Or is it time to, right? It's a lot like getting on the highway of your business, right? If all this traffic on the interstate is going 60 and 70 miles an hour, and your clients' lives are going 60 and 70 miles an hour right now, and you're going those backcountry roads, 35, 55, whatever. When you get to that ramp, you need to get up to speed as you are entering that ramp onto the interstate. And a launch is kind of like that ramp where you match your speed to your client's speed. They're going 75 miles an hour, and you are now going 75 miles an hour in the middle of your launch. I hope that helps you understand what a launch is, that it's not got to be perfect, and that it can be really fun and easy. What other questions do you have about launches? What questions do you have about the marketing plan that leads up to launches? Do you have a good launch plan? Or do you want one? One of the things that I am offering right now to my podcast listeners is what I call a connection and direction call. It is a short, no cost, 20-minute, let's connect. Do we know each other? Like, I'd love to know you in real life. And tell me about one thing you're struggling with. If the thing you're struggling with is launches, let's talk launch. And I can give you some direction. That might look like pointing you towards a couple of episodes of the podcast to listen to, a couple outside podcasts. Some great friends of mine have amazing podcasts that I can point you at, some external resources. It might be a course. It might be, we should work together. But let's get some connection and direction on where you're moving next. I will drop into the notes a C&D, connection and direction call, as one of the very first links. Book your 20 minutes. I'd love to meet you.